Hello everyone and welcome to another episode here on the MI Gardener channel. Hopefully you all are having a great day. I absolutely am. It's nice and warm out today and we're going to be making maple syrup. So you saw the first part where we tapped the maple trees. They've been tapping for about 2 to 3 days and we were able to collect some sap. So let's go collect the sap for the day and then come back here and we'll start the process. Alright, so we got the sap collected. It is in the bucket and it's starting to boil because it's still kind of cold, so it'll probably take about 15-20 minutes to bring it up to a boil because there's a lot of sap in there. But what we want to do is we want to make sure, like you saw, to use a old t-shirt, something 2 layers thick, preferably cotton, because it's going to allow the sap to drain through. It's going to absorb some of that sap, but like I said, just give it a good squeeze, and it's going to drain out that sap, but it's still going to catch all that other junk like dead bugs that fall in or any bits of debris, and that's really important because I actually did catch quite a bit. And you always want to do that. And you will also use it for the nearing the final step, because you want to also filter out any of the it's called maple sand, or sugar sand. So there's sugar sand, and it's this really gritty stuff that is actually caused from mineralization in the tree. And so you have lots of minerals that the tree brings up in that sap, and they get condensed down when you're making your syrup, and it's very unpleasant, and it adds kind of a foggy texture. If you want really clean, beautiful syrup, it's important to, again, filter, but we'll do that again later. The next thing you want are some clothespins. I find clothespins helps to secure the shirt to the bucket so that it doesn't fall into the sap when you're dumping more syrup in. So some clothespins, but definitely the biggest thing that I can say that you're also going to need is like a kitchen sieve or just some type of mesh material to scoop out the foam. The foam is basically impurities. Anytime you're boiling something, whether it be tomatoes for making spaghetti sauce or tomato sauce, or whether you're boiling sap, there's always impurities, whether it be dirt or silt or anything. It could be absolutely anything. Those impurities will rise to the top in the form of a foam, and you want to scrape that foam out because it is going to it's going to taint the flavor. It's also going to change the color to more of a dingy color. If you want a real rich, vibrant sap or a real rich, vibrant syrup, it's important to scrape that out. So it basically happens when it comes to a boil, and you should only have to do about once or twice. All right, so it's been about, I'd say about 5 or 6 hours now, and it is officially syrup. So you can see it got down real low, and man, it almost burnt to the bottom there. I didn't think it'd boil that fast, but it did, and we got ourselves some nice syrup. So we're gonna take it inside now to finish it, because what we want to do is we want to hit about 119 degrees. So this right here needs to be filtered one more time, and then we're gonna throw it into some bottles. All right, so then what we're going to do is we're just gonna take our sieve, and we wanna take our wet. This is just a damp t-shirt. Again, wanna make sure it's just 2 layers of something that is going to filter out the sugar sand. We're going to pour our hot maple syrup through the shirt, and it's best if the shirt is damp, because what it will do is it will allow the maple syrup to pass through the fibers easier in the shirt. So this will take a little while to begin filtering through, but we pretty much caught it just in the nick of time. And as you can see here, this is going to just keep filtering through, and it does get kind of, oh, there we go. Yep, awesome. It does get kind of gunked up at times with the sugar sand, because there is quite a bit of it. Especially on first run, you'll find that the first runs of maple syrup have the most minerals, and as you begin tapping, like in, let's say, a week or two, there'll be less and less sugar sand, because it's actually diluting more of it with water. So you'll boil your sap longer to get your syrup, but there'll be less actual minerals in the sap to refine. So we're just gonna shake this around here, get this to filter faster. What I don't want it to cool, because then if it cools, it can actually just muck things up a lot more. All right, so what I wanted to show you is just how much sediment was taken out. So let's see if I can gather this up here. Check this out. Look at all of that brown. That is actually all sugar sand that has been trapped, and the more it got trapped, the slower it took to filter. So we're finally starting to boil now, and I'm gonna pull out a spoon so we can test to see if it is sheeting or not. All right, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that I reach what's called the sheeting phase. So this is going to be done by slowly heating up the syrup, or what will be the syrup. It's still sap at this point, because it's actually not reached the syrup state. But how you can tell it's reached the syrup state is when you put some into a ladle and you pour the ladle out, you'll notice that it actually, instead of dripping, it will come off in a sheet. The cooler bits, it'll begin to kind of come off in strips. Well, you'll see what it looks like. So obviously we have our funnels ready on the side. We got some cool jars here. So these are just regular maple syrup jars. We bought these labels online, and they're just stick-on labels to, they look really cool and whatnot. And then we have these maple leaves here. And I'll post a link in the description box to where I got these on Amazon. But they're awesome. They're really, really cool. When you hand these out as Christmas gifts or whatever, or have them on the table when guests come over, it's like, wow, that's really awesome. That's a talking point for sure. And then also, I got these the lids that go with them. So when you put them on, it will actually seal. So if you're looking at selling your maple syrup, you definitely need these food safe lids here. So, all right, so we're going to start bottling up the maple syrup now, and we've just taken a single sheet of just a single strip of the t-shirt, moistened it, and this is for a final, filtration. And as you can see, the bubbles have gotten real fine now. We've turned the heat down to low just to keep it hot, because when it's hot, it will go through the cloth better. So you don't want it cool. All right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to move you over so we can bottle this stuff up. All right. There we go, and now it's going to go through. It's going to go through that last filter. And like I said, it's going to happen kind of slow, because the more you boil it, the more it brings those impurities out. That's okay. It's still going to It's still gonna go through that filter, and you might have to wash it out in between. You might have to wash it out in between bottles, but you're gonna have a real clean finished product. All right, so you ready to see the finished product, or one of the finished products? The other ones are still cooling, but we were able to get 3 absolutely beautiful bottles of maple syrup. These are 8-ounce bottles, so 8 fluid ounces fit in these maple leaf jars here. And the question that we'll get a lot is it worth it? And the answer is undoubtedly yes. So the cost of the propane was about $16-ish. We didn't use all the propane, but just for making it really easy to explain, the full propane tank cost us about $16 to boil what we did, and we were able to get 3 of these 8-ounce jars, which would run about $12 in the store. So between $9 and $12, depending on the store, or obviously if it's a big box store, they're gonna have it real marked down to like almost $9. But if you get it in like a specialty maple syrup store in this real nice bottle, it's gonna be maybe about $10 to $12. So even regardless, even at the lowest price of $9, we're able to get 3 of those, meaning $27 worth of maple syrup for just $16 of propane. And again, this is kind of an investment that will continue growing, because the more sap you have, yes, the more propane it will take, but when you get to a certain point, it kind of increases exponentially, and you will see a return on your investment, absolutely, especially if you love maple syrup as much as we do. So we'll definitely enjoy it. And the last thing I wanted to state is how important it is to filter your syrup. So what I want to say is that when it's going on really quick like that, it's difficult to explain, and especially when it's a one-man show, it's even more difficult to explain. So I want to break it down before I close here about the importance of filtering. So as you saw, when we first brought it in, we filtered it. And then when it was finished, we filtered it again. How I would do it differently if I had some help is I would have filtered it twice during the finishing process, instead of doing it once in the beginning and once at the very end of the finishing process. Because as you're boiling the sap, more and more of that sediment, more and more of those minerals will come out. And so the closer you get to the finished product, the more maple sugar, or the more sugar sand there will be. And so what you have to realize is that when you filter out, you saw how much we got out when we first put it through the sieve, and that was only about 20% of the sugar sand that was created. And so what you want to do is, all along the process, you'd want to probably, after about 3 to 4 minutes of boiling, do another filter and filter it through one more time, just a single layer of t-shirt. And then in about another 4 to 5 minutes, maybe around like the 80% mark, when you're like 80% there, do one final filter and filter it again through a single layer of t-shirt. And what you'll notice is it will progressively get more and more sugar sand, and that's because you're getting those minerals out of the maple syrup, and so it will save you a lot of hassle in the end. Because what I found is that when I was finishing, yes, I ended up with an absolutely stunning bottle of maple syrup. But the process that it took to get this was a bit more of a hassle than I would prefer in the future. So that's why I'm going to change things up in the future. All right, hey, I'll catch you all later. This is Luke from the MI Gardener channel, reminding you to grow bigger home. Make sure to check us out at migardener.com, where we have maple tapping kits for sale. We have a 10-piece and a 20-piece kit for the home tapper. That's what we're using. We're using the 20-piece kit actually, and so that's what we're using for our 3 trees. Definitely is worth the investment. It's worth the fun for the family, and even yourself for a sweet treat. So, all right, hey, we'll catch you later. See ya. Bye.